Hello there and welcome back. So with the installation and setup procedures out of the way, the next thing I want us to do is to create a very simple Rust project just to confirm that our setup was done correctly and everything is working, and also learn one or two things nonetheless. So let's get started. I am on Windows, so I'm going to open Command Prompt, and for those of you on Mac or any of the Linux systems, just open your terminal, right? And I have created a folder called Playgrounds, into which I I mean literally play around with ideas. So what I'm going to do here is, let me minimize these. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first of all type cargo hyphen hyphen version, and this should tell you the version of cargo that you have installed. Cargo is the dependency manager tool and also the build tool. Think of it as a front end to the Rust compiler, and it's one of the tools that got installed when you followed the instructions on the website in the previous video. If this command doesn't produce any response in your terminal or command prompt, most likely you made a mistake with the setup, and you can either reach out in comments or you can reach out to me anyhow to get help. But you can also literally just redo what you did and make sure that this time you get it correct. Okay, so with that out of the way, the next thing I want us to do is to create a project, right? To do that, you do cargo new. So cargo new is literally telling cargo to spin up a new Rust project for you. In Rust, there are two types of project you can create. There is the binary project and also the library project. For now, we are creating a binary project. When the time is right, I will tell you the differences between a library and a binary project. So cargo new, and then just give it any name. I'm going to call this demo project, and then I'll hit enter. So what's going to happen here is that cargo is going to create a folder called demo project. So as you can see, it created the folder here, demo project, and inside of it are a couple of files and folders. So I'm going to go into the demo project, and then I'm going to open this in VS Code. All right, so this has been created. Let me try to increase the font a bit. Yeah, I think this is good. So when you come to the project, the folder that was created by cargo, you can see that there is a subfolder. Sorry. You can see that there's a subfolder called SRC, and this is conventional, right? It's the source code, and there is also the git ignore, the cargo log, cargo toml. We are going to talk about all of them, and then there is also target. This shouldn't happen. It happened because of the Rust extension we created. It literally went through the project and then kind of built it. That is why this target thing has been created, but I will explain everything. So if you go inside the SRC, there's a file called main.rs, and the extension rs is the extension that Rust files use, and this code here is just printing hello world to the screen. Not very important for you to understand everything going on in here. I just want you to see the files that are created when you use cargo to spin up a new project. Okay, and because we are in VS Code, I can also open a terminal here. Instead of bringing up the one from command prompt, I can open a terminal right here that points to the root of the project, and to run the project I can do cargo run. Okay, so what cargo run does is it compiles our project and it runs the binary that was generated after the compilation, and all that this code does is to print hello world to the screen, so you can see that hello world has been printed in the terminal. There are a couple of things you can do with cargo. For now, I'm just going to show you cargo clean. So if you do cargo clean, it basically delete build artifact, right? You saw that the target folder that was here is no more. So there are some files and folders that get created when you build your project, and cargo clean literally removes those ones, and you are able to recreate them after you rebuild the project. Okay, and then if I do cargo build, unlike cargo run, builds the project, generates the binary, but it doesn't run it. So cargo run does the build step and also runs the generated binary. So if you come to the target, you go to debug. By the way, there are different profiles for building. By default, it builds in debug mode. Debug mode builds faster, and it also includes symbols that helps debug the code. But there's also the release mode. So if you just do cargo build, it builds in debug mode. That is why you see debug here. And there are a number of files that are generated, but because I am on Windows, you can see that it has created demo project.exe. This is the executable, so I can actually run it, and that is going to have the same effect as what the cargo run does here. Okay, I'm going to show you how to build in release mode. So I can do cargo build, and then you do hyphen release. So this flag is what is going to cause cargo to build in release mode. So the release version is what you are expected to put in production. Because this is a very simple project, you don't see a significant difference in time, I mean compilation time, for the release build and the debug build. But in a big project, release build takes a longer time than the debug build. So if I go to release, I can also see that a similar exe has been generated here. So these are the build artifacts that are created when you build or run your project, right? Now let's go through these files. Most important is the cargo.toml. Okay, TOML stands for Tom's Obvious Markup Language. It's a configuration file format. So you just define configurations here, and then you can read them in code to affect how the code works. But in Rust and in Cargo specifically, most of the configurations are done in TOML. So you can see that here there is a package. The name of the package is demo project. The version is 0.10. This is I mean, any version number you choose to assign to your project. The edition is the edition of Rust that we want to compile our code with. In subsequent videos, I'm going to explain to you what editions of Rust mean, and also the different targets and all that. And here we have what is known as dependency. So I kept mentioning that Cargo, apart from being the build tool, is also the dependency manager for Rust. So if there are external or third-party libraries, or create as they are called in Rust, that our project depends on, we list them here. And when we invoke cargo build, cargo is going to read all the dependencies in here. It's going to pull them from what is known as create.io. So if I open my browser and I go to create.io, this is similar to npm for Node.js or the JavaScript ecosystem. So create.io is the central repository for all the various libraries that are available, or creates that are available in Rust. And as you can see, there are 281,000 libraries available. Most likely you will find what you need for the particular problem that you want to solve, and look at how many times downloads have been made from create.io. So if you come here, you can search for any package. So I'm searching for a package called rand. We use it for generating random numbers, and then every package has this page that tells you how to use it, and also different features and whatnot. These are all things that we will learn about in our journey. Okay, so I'm going back to Visual Studio Code. So if you list dependencies here, Cargo is going to use that to download and include them in the build process. Now there is this cargo.lock. This locks in the versions of the dependencies or the creates that you listed in here, and the idea is to ensure repeatability of builds. Okay, the way dependencies are versioned is such that you can state for a very specific version or for any version above or below a particular version number. And to ensure repeatability in build, cargo.log is a file you don't even have to touch. It is maintained by Cargo itself, so you don't have to edit this. So you can see this file is automatically generated by Cargo. It is not intended for manual editing, so you have no business editing cargo.log unless you know precisely what you are doing. But essentially, Cargo as a tool is going to look at what is in cargo.toml and is going to use that to generate cargo.log. And so when you share your project with other people, the cargo that is installed on their system will also, using cargo.log, ensure that they compile your project using the same versions of the dependencies as you did. It is just to ensure repeatability. So for the last time, we can do cargo clean, and then you can see that the target artifact is gone. But of course, because cargo also supports git out of the box, it includes git ignore, and so you can see that it's already ignoring everything that is in target because you are not expected to push these build artifacts to your source control, right? So no need to try to understand anything here. It's just me letting us run this simple exercise to first of all confirm that your setup is correct, and also show you how to use Cargo to run, to build for release, and also to do cargo clean and basic stuff. So all of these will get really meaty and we'll start doing advanced stuff. Thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you in the next video.